Hi, thanks for joining us for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. I'm Chris Cooper. Biting into a fresh picked peach is great, but if you do not spray, you might get a juicy worm too. Today we're going to show you how to spray fruit trees. Also, bird feeders are one of the best ways to attract birds to your backyard. We'll show you how to hang one. That's just ahead on the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South.
Production funding for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South is provided by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Family Plot. I'm Chris Cooper. Joining me today is Mr. D. And Miss Debbie Bruce will be joining us later to hang a bird feeder. All right, Mr. D.
Talk about spraying.
We're going to talk about spraying trees.
Peach trees,
right?
That's right. Before I get into the actual spraying demonstration, I want to talk a little bit about safety. Probably the best thing you can do where safety is concerned first is to read the label.
Mm-hmm.
And near the top of the label, after it tells you what we've got and the active ingredients and all of that, it's going to tell you what to wear.
Right.
Never will you see on the pesticide label telling you to wear shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops.
This is true.
They're always going to tell you to wear a hat, to wear safety glasses, to wear rubber gloves, a long sleeve shirt,
Right.
long pants, and shoes or boots. And so that's,
You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Ready to go.
And I'm doing this not just because of the label, but because I've sprayed enough to know that sometimes the wind changes and sometimes it drifts on you. And I mean, I've got to go 360 degrees around this tree to get it sprayed. If there's any wind at all, at some point I'm going to be
Wow.
downwind. So I want some protective gear on.
Right.
If you get some on you, wash it off immediately. Just go wash it off. Soap and water. If you need to take a shower, take a shower.
Okay.
And you know, wash your clothes. But
Is that pretty soon after?
especially if it's on your skin.
Skin,
If
right.
it gets on your skin, yes, very soon afterwards. You need to go on and get it off of you. Most of the pesticides we're talking about, all of them are not restricted use pesticides, so they're not that dangerous for homeowners to use if you follow that label instructions. Okay.
All right.
I've already gotten my sprayer mixed up here. This tree is about, what, 8 feet tall, a little over 8 feet tall, the tallest limb, and it's about 8 feet in diameter. So that tells me that I'm probably going to need to mix up about a half gallon to a gallon of material to spray. Now, that's important to know because you don't want to mix up more than you really need. You want to run out when you're spraying. You don't want to have any left over because you don't want to store it. It can clog up your sprayer. It may become inactivated and not work for you. So there's a lot of things you want to finish up spraying.
Okay.
You know, when you
Do enough to spray it out.
That's right. Do
That's
enough
good
to
know.
spray it out.
Right.
Because this peach tree still has some blooms on it, I am not going to apply an insecticide in this first spray. I'm going to only apply fungicide. I've got a spreader sticker mixed in there too to make it stick to the limbs. I'm going to spray almost to the point of runoff. I'm going to direct my spray to the lower and both sides of the leaves if I can. I'm going to also go down and spray the base of the tree. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get brown rot. Brown rot is the #1 fungal disease on peaches, plums, and nectarines, and it can destroy you if you don't control brown rot. So we've got wind at about 4 miles an hour, which is good.
So that's considered to be okay.
The best is no wind or
Right,
very little
yeah.
wind. That's almost impossible
Right.
to happen. If the wind's blowing more than 10 miles an hour, 10 or 15 miles an hour, you probably ought not to be spraying. You probably need to put it off. You know, if you do spray when you know you're going to get spray on you, you need a face mask too.
Wow.
You need a face mask.
Wow. So
But
you got to be
you don't want
careful
to
when you
breathe any
spray
of this
it.
stuff, and you don't want to get it on your skin.
Got to be careful, folks.
Okay, let's get to it.
All right, let's do it.
Give me a little pressure here.
Okay.
All right, that ought to do.
That ought
Let's
to
see
do.
what
I
I've
can,
got
I
here.
can hear it.
A flat fan nozzle is a good nozzle to use when you're spraying fruit trees. Let's see what we've got here. This tree is really easy to spray because it's been pruned well. The center is opened up.
Yeah.
If it had not been sprayed, or if it had not been pruned well, it would be almost impossible to get my spray mixture on these leaves.
That's
So
a
this one
good
is-
open center.
It's opened up,
It's
and it's very easy
open.
to get good coverage on this tree.
Wow.
Let me go on and move on around here.
That's a great illustration.
You don't have to spray until it runs off. Spray it almost to the point of runoff. Turn my wand over. Spraying the underside. Want to make sure I spray the trunk and lower limbs because those fungal spores can attach themselves anywhere. Now, I only am using fungicide. You see that I saw a honeybee fly there. This fungicide will not hurt honeybees. You can buy home orchard sprays that are already pre-mixed. It's very important that you do not use a pre-mixed home orchard spray while the plant is blooming because it already has the insecticide in it.
Right.
The fungicide that I'm using is Captan. I could also use sulfur, or I could use chlorothalonil. Either one of those fungicides work well. But as soon as all the petals have fallen off, I'm going to add an insecticide into the mix. Now, with peaches, plums, and nectarines, I have a choice between malathion and carbaryl. With apples and pears, my only choice is malathion, because carbaryl, if used within 21 days after the bloom, will cause apples and pears to abort their crop. So you don't want to do that. Most home orchard sprays have malathion. Most pre-mixed ones have malathion in them. Most of them have malathion and Captan. Pretty important to use a spreader sticker. You can use a commercial spreader sticker, or just use detergent. Tablespoon of teaspoon or tablespoon of detergent will do just as well.
Oh yeah, good old Liquid Joy or some Dunn will do just fine. And while you're doing that, Mr. D, you can mention about the orchard spray guide that can definitely help you out.
That's right. I got the information I've been giving you. All of it came from the Home Orchard Spray Guide for the state of Tennessee. Chris has them in his office. You can go to UT's website and get them, or you can simply Google or use a search engine to and list Home Orchard Spray Guide for whatever state you're in. If you're in Mississippi or Kentucky, I would encourage you to go to that state's land grant institution. Now, what I'm doing here needs to be done every 7 to 10 days.
Wow. So what if
If,
it rains in between one of those, Mr. D?
If it rains, then that application has been erased.
Oh man.
And you need to, as soon as possible, redo it.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible, redo it, because if you wait 2 or 3 days, those 2 or 3 days, that tree is unprotected.
Right. Because like you always say, right, if you have plum, peaches, or nectarines, you're gonna have to do some spraying, right?
You are,
Yeah.
I promise you. There's nothing that I know of organic that will prevent plum
Oh, boy.
curculio and brown rot.
Oh boy.
If you know of something that will, let me know. And be aware, I've already tried pretty much everything. If you have something in on your mind that you think will work, you know, I've probably already heard it. I've been doing this for about 35 years.
Oh, I think you'll know a little something about that.
Well, I think we've got that one sprayed for now. It's clouding up. May rain in a little while. We may need to do this again in a couple hours, but maybe not.
All right, well, we appreciate that demonstration, Mr. D.
Most welcome.
All right. Let's look how deep these plants were planted and see which one is actually correct, okay? The first one, I think we planted it too deep, because as you can see, the leaf is essentially coming out of it, which means, yeah, we planted it too deep, so the plant is essentially choking itself. This plant is too shallow. Look, the roots are actually above the ground, so the roots can't even get in the ground to get the nutrients that they need, and the plant is actually falling over because it's not stable. This last planting, I think this was actually pretty good. Look at it. We got it in the ground at the right depth, I think. So this will be the correct way to plant your plants. All right, Miss Debbie, we're glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a beautiful day.
It's a gorgeous day. We're outside of the studio. Bird feeders.
Yes, I'm excited.
I am. We're excited about this.
I am. This is a beautiful area. You guys must be covered up with birds and you don't even know it. But putting a feeder in is going to pull them out of the canopies of the trees, and hopefully you'll enjoy some of them.
Hopefully we will. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get started with the demonstration.
Okay, I've brought a pole system. We're going to start with a base pole, and we're going to put it into the ground. The pole actually has a hole in the center. And the reason we selected this site here, not only because of its richness and habitat, but we want to be at least 12 feet from trees because, of course, you have squirrels here.
Of course.
And squirrels can jump 12 feet across. So we're
Okay.
trying to make it a little more difficult for them. So we start with our base pole and we turn it into the ground, and we just keep turning and we just keep turning. And we want to get it in a good 12 to 18 inches, believe it or
that's going
not.
on pretty good. You want me to turn that for you, Miss Debbie?
Sure,
Let me
you
turn
go
that
for
you.
it.
And you just tell me when.
Okay,
Either the ground's going to tell me when, one or the other.
it might. You might find a tree root. That looks
Couple
good.
more. Oh, yeah,
That
we're
looks
getting there.
good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Now, the next thing we're going to add to our system is a stabilizer. Nothing is worse than when you put a pole in the ground, you look out your window and you have a slanted pole. So this is going to keep it good and straight. So we just drop it over and
Loosen it up. All right. There you go.
step it in the ground.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I might need your
Let me
oomph
step
there.
down. All right. And get on that side. How about that?
That's great. That's
That's good?
perfect.
Okay.
That's
All
perfect.
right.
Now we've got a good straight base pole that's going to handle a lot of weight, and
Okay.
it's nice and straight. The next thing we want to do is to give it some height. We're targeting birds that want to eat at a height, at elevation. And given the type of habitat you have here, you probably have chickadees, tufted titmice, woodpeckers, in addition to cardinals and blue jays, and even more than that. But I brought a 4-foot base pole and a 4-foot extension. So that's how tall it's actually going to
Wow,
be.
how about that?
But I'm short. So I'm going to pull it down to put it together. Okay. I brought 2 feeders that we're going to hang. Feeders can be either mounted on top of a pole, let me show you this, as a hopper like that with a special adapter that would fasten it.
Okay.
But today I brought a hanger with an arm with 2 areas to hang from.
Right.
And I brought 2 on purpose to bring 2 different food sources.
Good.
So we're going to hang one from each side.
Okay.
And then just to give it a finished look and to make you smile, I brought a cardinal.
How
Okay?
about that?
So that'll make it look you have a bird on your feeder already.
Yeah,
okay,
look at that,
on your
a
setup.
cardinal, okay.
Yeah.
Folks
So
around
now-
this area familiar with cardinals?
Yes.
You get it on there?
And we push the button in and we lock it in place.
Okay, good.
Okay?
All right.
I forgot something. Because you do have this treed area, you're going to have critters.
Uh-huh.
So we need to install our baffle.
Okay. Want me to hold that for you?
If you would,
will.
please. There you go.
Okay.
I brought 2 different baffles. One is very tall. It's to take care of raccoons, squirrels, possums, chipmunks. And this one is for squirrels, possums, and chipmunks. But I would pretty much bet that you have raccoons here. So we're going to go with the
too.
raccoon baffle. Let's see. Let me put that up
Okay.
there and see. Yep, that's good.
Good.
This is called a baffle ring, and it's going to hold this on to the pole.
Okay.
There we go.
There it
Now we
goes.
can put that back
Okay.
on.
All right.
And push
See
the
it?
button.
All right. Got it.
All right, and then we're going to put this on top of the unit.
Got it. Okay.
If this seems a little bit tall, we can use the shorter extension, but this will give you a good idea of what it's going to look like. I brought a seed feeder. This is a hopper to put loose seed in, but it's going to hang, okay? And it has a large enough platform for your cardinals and for your blue jays, and maybe even a mourning dove or two will try to get onto it. But most likely the mourning dove's going to eat off the ground.
Okay.
We did bring some no mess seed so that you won't have sprouting in your yard. And all the shells are removed, which takes away one of the variables for sprouting. And this is a mixture of hearts of sunflower and peanuts.
Wow, sunflower and peanuts.
Would you mind hanging that,
I will
please?
hang that. Okay. And they'll just hang it like this?
Yes.
All right.
Uh-huh.
How about that?
All right, so when the birds come in, they're going to perch along the trees and wait their turn to come to the feeder and to eat.
Ah.
Then I brought a different food source. This is actually suet. It's rendered beef fat, and it's in a cylinder, so it's so easy to feed.
Okay.
And this is for your clinging birds. Woodpeckers, chickadees, tufted titmice would like this. Carolina wrens. You're targeting insect-eating birds with suet.
Ah, okay.
So that'll go on the other
Let's go
side.
there. All right. There it goes. How about
Thank
that?
you. Okay. Now you've planted your system and it's all set to go. The only way I would tweak it is I'd probably pull the baffle down maybe about 10 inches. You want to protect the lowest
Okay.
point. But you've planted your system and now you just need to be patient and wait for the birds. Sometimes it's immediate response, sometimes it takes up to 6 weeks.
Okay.
But given the time of the year that we're in, their food consumption is at a high right now because they're busy with nesting
Sure.
and need extra energy. So I don't think it'll take long and you'll have visitors at your little buffet here.
I'm excited, Miss Debbie. I can't wait to see the birds
Let me
come
know
and
who
have their food.
comes.
All right, we will definitely do that. Thank you again.
You're
All
welcome.
right.
Okay, if you grow peaches, plums, or nectarines, and you do it for any length of time, you're going to encounter a problem such as this. The main problem here is peach tree borer. When you have boring insects that get in the base, lower part of the tree will actually try to flush the borer out. And so that's why you'll see sap being exuded from the tree. And you can see another example right over here. But it's peach tree borer that started the problem. It weakened the tree, and then wind came along and split it. The way to prevent peach tree borer application, once I've gone back to our home orchard spray guide, May 31st, June 30th, July 15th, spray the trunk and lower limbs and the soil around the base of the tree with either S-fenvalerate or gamma cyhalothrin. That's the 6th cover spray in the home orchard spray guide. Very important.
All right, this is our Q&A session. Miss Debbie, you help us out, we get in trouble, okay? All right, here's our first viewer email. I planted thyme and lavender seeds 3 weeks ago. The lavender is starting to sprout, but the thyme is not. I watered them regularly and set them in the sun. Am I doing something wrong? Why are my thyme seeds not growing? And this is from Deanne right here in Memphis. I wondered about that one. What do you think about that one, Mr. D?
I don't know anything at all about
Okay.
herbs, but I do know a little bit about seeds, and I know sometimes you can get bad seeds. Some
I
seeds,
thought old seeds.
Yeah,
You know,
it
the
could be,
first
yeah.
thing that came to my mind. Maybe there was some old seeds because you had the lavender that sprouted. The time that did not 3 weeks ago. Old seeds.
Did they buy them? Did they save the seeds? If they saved the
Right.
seeds, did they
True.
get scarified?
That's right.
You know, maybe the lavender seeds got scarified,
Mm-hmm.
or they put them in a refrigerator, and you know, if they were seeds that somebody saved and they kept them warm all winter and they didn't let them
Right.
scarify, that could be a problem.
All of those are
There's a lot of
factors.
questions.
Right.
Your one question is generating more questions.
Right.
And
Yeah. Indoor. Did they start them indoor? Outdoors? I don't know. But the thing about time is this: you still have time to put them in the ground.
That's right. That's why it's called time. Right?
So you still have plenty of time, Ms. Deanne. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that generated a lot more questions. You know, it's the same thing I thought, Mr. Dees. Yeah, it's just you don't know. Old seeds, indoor, outdoor, warm scarification. I don't know.
No.
Makes you wonder. All right, here's our next via email. We have 2 dogwoods in the front of our home. Last year, one of them suddenly lost all its leaves. A company was treating our trees and shrubs, and we contacted them. They said the tree would be fine. Just continue to water it properly. We continued watering, but there had been no improvement, and now they're telling us the tree is lost. It was planted too deep. What do you think? It's from Wiley.
That's what it looks like to me. It actually looks like it was planted too deep, and it looks like someone may have realized that and started trying to pull the dirt out from it, but it was probably too late. You know, above ground portion of a tree is supposed to stay above ground.
Right.
And that's why it's so important when you plant trees, shrubs, or anything, it's good to have a big planting
Right.
hole, but not a deep planting hole.
That's exactly right.
You know, you'd
Wide.
rather have it wide
Right.
so that you can put your soil amendments in there and all that. But the below ground portion of the plant is supposed to be below ground, and the above ground portion of the plant is supposed to be above ground. And you can plant them too shallow, and they won't do well. You can plant them too deep, and they will die.
Yes.
You know,
And I tell you something else from that picture too,
what's that?
that goes to your point. I didn't see the root flares.
That's why
too deep.
it doesn't look like
Yeah.
it really looks like that's too deep.
Right, it's too deep.
And there's
you
nothing
should
you
be
can
able
do
to see the root flares. You don't see the root flares. I mean, that tree looked like it was playing like a telephone pole. You know, just straight in the ground. You should be able to see the root flares. I didn't see any in that picture.
So,
Yeah.
I
Always plant high, because it's going to settle over time.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to keep that in mind. You know, and if you do, especially if your planting hole is too deep, then you do need to plant a little higher,
need to
because
plant
you
a
know it's
little
going to shallow. But if you don't, don't plant it too deep to start with,
Right.
and at least and err on the side. You know, I'd rather have it a little slightly shallow, because you can very easily pull dirt up, bring some dirt in, and actually kind of have the plant on a raised bed. But you try pulling it out like
gonna
that,
be tough.
and every time it rains, it's going to wash back in there.
Right.
And you know, you can't have it planted in the bottom of a well.
All right, here's our next via email. Can you propagate a Japanese maple from a cutting, or do you need to graft it? And this is from Richard. This is a YouTube. I can answer this one pretty quick. The growers, they graft. That's what the growers do. All you Japanese maples that are out there, they graft it.
And there's a reason, the rootstock.
Rootstock.
I mean, what is the rootstock, I wonder, for Japanese maple? Do you know? I know that in fruits, the reason you graft is because the rootstock is, stronger. It's more vigorous.
Right.
And if you try to plant a fruit from a seed, and I know Japanese maples, you can get under a Japanese maple and there's seedlings all over the place.
All over the
and
place,
You can
yeah.
plant them. But if you do that with a fruit, the plant will be, very weak and won't last very long.
Right.
And I'm assuming the same thing would be true.
Yeah,
of
I mean, you can
Japanese
actually, in some studies, they've actually done some like root cuttings, but the plant itself was a weak plant, and it grew real slow. So again, I listen to the growers. I mean, they're the ones out there doing this every day.
So they're
They
grafting
graft.
under a good rootstock.
Yeah, they graft. Good root stock.
Yeah.
Makes for a better plant.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense to me. All right, Mr. Richard, hope that helps you out. All right, Ms. Debbie, Mr. D, we're out of time.
Remember,
We love to hear from you. Send us an email or letter. The email address is familyplot@wkno.org, and the mailing address is Family Plot, 7151 Cherry Farms Road, Cordova, Tennessee 38016. Or you can go online to familyplotgarden.com. That's all we have time for today. If you need to get a home orchard spray guide or more information on feeding the birds, just go to familyplotgarden.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Cooper. Be sure to join us next week for the Family Plot, Gardening in the Mid-South. Be safe.